This video is part of the Week 2 Google Fundamental Training Series covering Google Classroom. Hopefully, this is all going to be reviewed. There are a couple of tidbits in the fundamentals training found online on Google that we are going to talk about and highlight, but a lot of the stuff should be pretty routine for you by now with all of us using Google Classrooms for our e-learning days and whatnot. But just real quick, if you want to create a Google Classroom, you would go up to the very top here. This is the same spot that you go if you wanted to join a Google Classroom. You would simply click on to create a class, create a name for the class. You can give it a section if it's your period 2, period 3, period 4. Put a subject in there. If there's a subject that it drops down menu, but you can add a subject if you want to, and that would create your class for you. When you want to add students to your classroom, and I'm just going to go to our Google Fundamental class. If I wanted to add students to the class, there's a couple of ways that you could go about it. I go under the Student tab. If I hit the Invite Students, I can invite students by an email, or I can also invite students by typing in a group. So like if I wanted to invite the Building Tech Integration Coaches, which is a group that I had created to organize all the Building Tech Integration Coaches, I can click here and that will invite all of the Building Tech Integration Coaches, all of the emails that I've attached to that group. See the video on Gmail for setting up groups and contacts. Another easy way of inviting students is with the unique class code that you get. So with the class code, typically first day of school class, they come in, you just hit the display button that puts it up nice and big. You project it on your screen, and that is how you would invite your students into your Google Classroom. Now, once you get your students into your classroom, you're going to live and breathe in the stream area. And this is where you can do a lot of your communicating and get things turned in and done. A couple of things that you can do if you want to, you can go up here down at the bottom and you hit the plus, and this will open up where things that you can do. So I can create an announcement. An announcement is just sharing of information. This is where you can put in videos or files. A great place to flip your classroom by putting a video or document that you want the kids to read before class, so they come in with some background knowledge before they get into your class. If I create an assignment, this is going to create an assignment, and I can decide who do I want this assignment to go to. Is it going to go to all my students in this class? If I uncheck this, it will only go to a few students. The other thing that you can do when you're assigning assignments is I can assign them to multiple classes. So this is a great feature for saving time. If I've got 3 sections of the same class, I have 3 separate Google Classrooms, but I can send the same assignment to my circuits and electronics class, my circuits period 7, period 6, and period 5. So I could get my assignments set up that way. I give my assignment a title. I can provide instructions for my students in the assignment, or I can put the instructions in the document. Here's where I would select the due date. By default, there is no due date. So if I wanted to make it so that it would be due in the next day, I could pick whatever day I want. And then I can also select the time that I want it due. By default, it's 11:59 or midnight. What that does is that's what really indicates to the students if they have missing work. So I would highly encourage you to put due dates on everything. And that way it helps students. It builds a calendar in the Google Classroom, and that calendar for them will tell them when things are missing, or they can easily see if they finished something or haven't finished something. I can then also give a topic. I believe strongly in the use of topics. The reason that topics are so great is, let me just do this here. So I got here, I'm going to put in here. So it's a test assignment. If I create a topic for it, the topics are going to go, and I'll show you here in a second of how the topics are beneficial to the students. I use the topics primarily for reviews, for tests, unit reviews, quizzes, those kinds of things, so the kids know quickly where to go, especially as the semester gets longer. There's more and more going into our stream. It can be harder to know, okay, that's the third post from the bottom. When I want to assign my assignment, I simply come down here and I can click to assign it. I can save it as a draft if I'm not ready to assign it, if I haven't gotten it done, or I can schedule the assignment. One of the things that is kind of a bummer is once I do more than one class, I can no longer schedule. So I can only schedule assignments one assignment at a time. So a workaround for if you're trying to schedule stuff, like the reason I use scheduling is if I have a test that I'm putting out as a Google form, I'll schedule each one to go out 5 minutes before class starts so that kids maybe in my seventh period class aren't getting on to their Chromebooks during the fifth period class when they've got some free time and getting a jump start, getting extra time on the test. So I schedule my quizzes so that they hit the class stream 5 minutes before their class period starts. So there's no advantages for kids that are later in the classroom or something like that. So if you are scheduling, you can only schedule one class at a time. The way you work around that, though, that makes it super easy is if you're scheduling assignments, I would just go into each class and I would use the reuse post. So by clicking on reuse post, I can click what class am I wanting to go to. So if I had put something in my Google Fundamental training and I wanted to reuse it, these are all of the things that I've put into my Google Fundamental training. And so I can save then I can click a post and simply click reuse it. Then I schedule it for the next class. So I've got that. Adding files to either to an assignment or an announcement is the same. I can attach a file. If it's something that's in my Google Drive, I can embed it directly into the Google Drive. I can quickly add and share YouTube videos. So if I go to my Google Drive, I can pick a file that I would like to share with the students in the class. And I can pick what it is. So this is going to be, I'm going to share the training checkoff with them. And so this is, as an announcement, everything by default is just view only. I could go back in through that announcement through Google Drive then and change the sharing permissions and give share permissions. But if I wanted my students to all get a copy of it, I would have to do this as an assignment, create an assignment. Then I would add the file again. I'll come back here to add the file. And when I go to add the file for the training checkoff, I've added my file here. So then it comes up right here. Students can view file as the default. I can then change here. Students can edit the file, which means they're all working collaboratively on one document, or I can make a copy for each student. You can only make a copy for each student at your initial distribution of the assignment. Once you've created the assignment, if you messed up and said, oh, I gave it to him as view and I needed to make it as make a copy, you have to delete the assignment entirely and repost the assignment. You do not get the option to make a copy for each student once the assignment has already been posted to your stream. While it's a draft or while it's being saved or scheduled, it hasn't been posted out yet. You can still make those changes, but you cannot if it hasn't been done yet. The next thing with going back to, again, why we do topics. Topics are great over here. So these are all the topics. So I've just posted some stuff about Google Docs. So if I click on the Google Docs, then anybody that's in this class can see there's some week 2 Google Docs videos talking about this. So as my users in this class want to go and refresh themselves on different things before they take their fundamental training, they can simply click on what it is they're looking for, and it will bring up exactly where that post is so they can see what they've got to do for that post or what they've got that's out there for them. Google Classroom works great on iOS tablets. We're one-to-one with our Chromebooks here, but there is a Classroom app that you can do on it. You can view assignments from it, still turn assignments in. The other thing that you can do as a teacher that's kind of a neat thing is if I go into assignments that people have. So I gave the assignment of skills checklist. Now, again, the reason I gave it as an assignment is so that each student would get a copy of it. So you see, and this wasn't something that had to be turned in. I just provided it out there. But if I wanted to see how people are doing with it or what they're doing with it, so if I go to Miss Reader's assignment and I click on her assignment, I can see what she's got for her assignment. So if I wanted to check in and see what are the things that she's done, so she's staying right on track. She came to our training the first week. And so she's checked off the boxes that she's learned about. I can see that she's done that. I can go in and see if there's other things I want. I could provide real-time feedback while she's working on this assignment, while she's in here. So like what I could do is here, I could give her a comment and I just highlight what I'm doing. I add a comment to hers and say, this is what we are covering in week 2, right? Or if it's a suggested edit or something like that, we can do that. So I've got a comment for her there, so she can see real quick what she's got, or if there's something that she needed to work on. So that's another great thing that you can do with your Google Classroom. I can also, with hers, I can send her a private comment. Obviously, being in the video, it's not so private, so I can put in here, I used your assignment to show examples in video. All right, and I post that to her. Hopefully she won't mind that we did that, and so then I could add a comment to there. This also has here, so on my end of it, we've got this assignment up here. By default, the assignments come in as 100 points. I can change these assignments. Like this is not something that we're doing for a grade with this. These are adult learners, but I can make it as an ungraded, or I can set whatever I want to. If I wanted to make this assignment is worth 10 points, then I simply, when students have turned in their assignments, I could go in here. I could give them their scores of what they've got here. So again, I'm going to give Brenda, she's doing awesome, so I'd give her a 10. I could return the assignment to her, and the students would see that. Now, this does not integrate with our Synergy school information system, so you still do need to put your grades into the gradebook. Some teachers use the grading, don't use the grading. I like to do both just to make sure that the kids very clearly know what they've got. So I set up the grade. I'll put the grade in the Google Classroom so they can see exactly what they've got right there. And then I go over and do it on the Synergy side as well, so that they've got the Synergy side as well, so that they can see both of that. One of the things that is in the fundamental training, talked about that there's some cool things that you can do with your you get tips that maybe didn't know about, and this is something that I didn't know was out there. But in the fundamental training, they talk about an app called Share to Classroom, or a Chrome extension called Share to Classroom. Share to Classroom is a really cool tool. You go to Chrome extensions, it's called Share to Classroom. It adds it to my document here. So then I would go up here, and let's say I want all of the students to go to our school district website. So I open up the website for the Albert Lea area schools, and I want to make sure that they all get to the right website at the right time. So I click up here with the Share to Classroom, and this will take this web browser, and then I pick which classroom it is that I want to share it to, and it will share it directly out to that. When I hit push to the students, this website will go out to the students, so that it goes and they get the exact website. So if there's a login screen or a specific place that I want them to go to, you don't have to worry about them having to type in, or they type the URL wrong. It's just a different way that you can go as you're going from one site to the next. If you wanted to get some information out to them, I can just push it directly out to the students. And so that's kind of a really cool feature or tool with how you would do the assignments. Students can upload non-Google files. So if they wanted to upload a file, they simply would just attach it. They can attach it from their Google Drive, or they can attach it as a file from their computer or from their hard drive if they're doing this at home and not on their Chromebooks. And when they do that, not everything, one of the things that they'll try to trick you on is when you're trying to turn an assignment in, is not everything requires you to turn an assignment in. So I could have students say, I want you to go and do something in the classroom, and then when you're done with it, come back and mark your assignment as done. So they're not actually turning anything in, like a document or a sheet or anything like that, but they still need to complete something in the classroom. Maybe it's a drawing, or they're working on creating a circuit in the class. So then when they're done with it, they just would mark it as done, so that I know I need to go by and check their work or see what's going on with it. So if you don't have something, if you attach a file, then it'll say turn in, and that will allow them to turn it in. If it doesn't have anything attached to it, they simply would just mark the assignment as done. This has been a quick rundown of all Google Classroom. Hopefully you found some new tools in there that you haven't used before. Most of it hopefully is just a review for you. Thank you.